That was terrible.
That was crap. That was garbage. This place sucks.
Overreaction Monday.
All right, what do you got over there?
All right, Rich, you refused to give up on this team despite me baiting you for what seemed like a month. The Chiefs should be Super Bowl favorites right now.
Oh, that's an overreaction about Super Bowl favorites, like to win the whole thing.
Win the whole thing. They should be the favorite to win the Super Bowl.
No. Even me, we're saying like I'm not giving up on the Chiefs just yet. I do feel fully vindicated on that front. I feel really good about myself that I wasn't going to take that Chiefs. I did say they were to lose only one game for the rest of the year. I think they've lost twice since I've said that. So I'm not going to anoint them Super Bowl favorites, but you do see what they're cooking now. Looks a lot like what they've been cooking up. And if you wanted to get the Chiefs, I think I would say weeks 1 through 7 was the time to get them. And a bunch of people did. And that might force them to go on the road in the playoffs, and that might be a problem. So I'm not going to sit here and say that. But if you've got Mahomes, that defense, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is back, Tyreek Hill is open. Kelsey still makes the odd mistake for him here and there. Yep. They still have flaws.
Okay.
But, you know, if I had to dub a Super Bowl favorite in the AFC, I would take them. And 1A would be the Patriots.
Okay.
1A would be the Patriots. I've got my mulligan coming up this week. We'll discuss it quite a bit over the next 48 hours on NFL Game Day morning. I've got the Chiefs as the AFC, the Bucs as the NFC. Do I swap either one of them out?
I think so.
That's for later on this week. What else you got over there, Chris?
All right, you just mentioned them. Wasn't going to bring up the Patriots today, but since you mentioned them, the Patriots are going to be the AFC 1 seed in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. Well, they've got the Titans in front of them, and it depends on what the Ravens do because the Ravens are sitting in front of them right now, and I don't know off the top of my head if that's a tiebreak that the Ravens have over New England because of their conference record or common opponents or anything like that sort of thing.
They have one less loss. They've only played 10 games.
Right, so they've only played 10 games. Oh, that's the top.
Yeah,
oh, that would be the tiebreaker. Is the loss column? Correct.
Loss
all right.
column.
Well, New England does have a bye coming up, right? When is that thing coming? Week 14. So New England's next couple of games are against the Titans.
And against the Bills.
And then against the Bills. That's not an overreaction. I can't sit there and say that's an overreaction. No, that's not an over. That's entirely possible. 1,000% entirely possible the way that they're playing. That they beat the Titans, they beat the Bills, and then the Ravens lose one. Yeah, that's possible.
I just wanted to hear you say it.
I'm telling the rest of the football world, I've been crying this out for a month. The Patriots are coming. The Patriots are coming. They're here. I've been telling everybody that, and people still can't wrap their arms around it because it's a rookie quarterback, and it's a bunch of defenders that you've never heard of many times. And the running backs and the wide receivers aren't really lighting up anybody's waiver wires. In fact, I bet you could pick up every single Patriot receiver in your fantasy league right now. Unless it's just some schmecky 14-team league like you. If you're in an 8 or a 10-team league, you could probably get Aguilar, Harry, Bourne, Myers. Get them all. You could probably even get Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, one of the tight ends.
It's possible you get Stevenson, too, the running back. That's part of the reason why everybody overlooks it. It's a fantasy football world. Yeah. And Belichick's laughing at you. What else?
All right, you talked about this team earlier. Won their second straight road game with a backup. The Cardinals are going to go 8-0 on the road and route to the 1 seed in the NFC.
That's possible. That's entirely
possible. Finish the year
possible.
Undefeated on the road.
How can you think otherwise right now? Let me see who they have for the rest of the way now that I actually just said that blanket statement. They're at the Bears. They should win that one. They're at the Lions, and they're at the Cowboys. That's not an overreaction at all. And if they do that, and they hold their ground at home, their home games to go are as a Monday nighter against the Rams, the Colts, and the Seahawks. Man, the Colts can really just absolutely wreck the buffet at the NFL Harrow Club like they've been doing the last 2 months. Because they play the Bucs and they play the Arizona Cardinals. So they can not only put up the Colts schedule, will you please? I know I'm totally going down a wormhole right here, but do me a favor, put up the Colts schedule. Because the Colts, they're done with the Titans. So they're going to have to be one game better than the Titans. And after this game for the Colts this week against the Buccaneers at home, they're at the Texans. They play the Patriots. Dude, they're going to play the Patriots, the Cardinals. They could knock the Raiders out on January 2nd. And they got the Jacksonville Jaguars on a week 19, a week 18, when everybody's U-Haul is going to be backed up in Jacksonville. And that might be one where somebody somewhere in there sniffing it needs the needs the Colts to lose.
Right.
So, yes, very simply put, that's not an overreaction for the Cardinals, that's for sure. But the Colts are going to have a say in a lot. NFC and AFC. Oh, baby. What else you got over there?
Speaking of the Colts, Rich, Jonathan Taylor is your NFL MVP frontrunner today.
That is definitely an overreaction. It's a quarterback-driven league. Because it's a quarterback-driven league.
But who else? Nobody's playing well.
If Brady throws for 4 touchdowns tonight, what are we going to be talking about tomorrow?
I'm a few $100 richer.
Okay, so is that what it is? Okay, didn't know that. Honestly. But he's very impressive. And,
he's now in the conversation.
I know that because they're above 500 and they're on the outside. Can a wild card team that's 10-7, 11-6, a wild card team have a running back that wins the MVP? That is that's a tall order, Nordberg. That's a tall order.
What if they go 11-6?
That's a tall order.
All right.
But he's been incredible and deserves all the kudos. Yeah, awesome. What else, Christopher?
With apologies to TJ and Hoskins in the back, the Cowboys and Bills peaked too early.
Come on. Chiefs, Rich. That's who we lost to.
Peaked too early. You lost without Mahomes throwing a touchdown.
Yeah, that should. This isn't my segment.
Means you should have won.
Hold on a second. This right there, this one right here, should be in the Overreaction Monday Hall of Fame. Because that's what this segment is about.
The Overreaction
Hall
of Fame.
It's week 11. It's Thanksgiving week. As you know, Thanksgiving week, that's what Parcells would always say. This is when the season begins, right? And this, more than ever this year, shows you week to week to week to week, things can change back and forth. Honestly, the Chiefs were thrown on the scrap heap by October 1st by so many people. That's an overreaction. They have not peaked too early. Let's see what happens. In 2020 hindsight, you might be Nostradamus there.
Also, Rich,
but if I had to choose one that's peaked too early than the other, it's the Bills.
Also, Rich, I
would choose one of the other. I just gave you a little bonus hot take right there. If one is peaked too soon over the other, it's the Bills.
This man was ready to put Patrick Mahomes on his Mount Rushmore of the history of NFL quarterbacks, and now he's like, you held him without a touchdown pass. That should be looked at as a pretty good thing, right? Like,
you didn't win the game. When Mahomes doesn't throw a touchdown, I'm going to look up this stat.
I have ruled overreaction.
I'm going to look up this stat.
Next. What else you got over there?
All right. We talked about this earlier, how it's parity. It's the craziest week-to-week league of all time. There's at least a dozen teams who can win the Super Bowl.
Oh. Not an overreaction. Can I name them right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go down the list.
Wow, you've got the Vikings and the Eagles on the screen right there. And they're all due respect to Nick Sirianni. I would not include in a dozen teams. I will say hold on, here we go.
I said at least a dozen.
At least a dozen. Easy. All right, let's see. Let's count them out. Bucks, Rams, Cardinals, Packers, Cowboys. That's just in the
that's in the NFC.
In the NFC alone. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there. In the AFC, Chiefs, Titans, Patriots, Ravens,
Bills.
You put the Bills, right? The Bills.
Chargers.
Chargers is 11. Right? And then you want to throw somebody else like the Steelers or...
I want to put the Vikings.
How about the Colts?
I want to put the 49ers. I want to put the Colts.
49ers. Even thought about the 49ers. Yeah. All right. We're over 12. That's not an overreaction. But you want to put the Vikings? You think the Minnesota Vikings can win the Super Bowl?
Well, that takes me to my next overreaction, Rich.
They're way too inconsistent.
Nobody wants to play the Vikings in the NFC playoffs.
I think that's untrue. They will take that. Of course they won't take it.
They just put up 34 on that supposedly good Packer D.
Because they can't figure out if they can start closing games late with regularity, and if Kirk Cousins can show up in a big game under the lights where you win or go home.
But that's why nobody wants to play that.
I would take the Vikings right now over the 49ers. I'd rather face the Vikings. I'd rather face the Vikings instead of the 49ers.
Oh, you'd rather play the Vikings?
Yes.
Agreed.
And I know they've got a terrific receiving core and a terrific running back. I've got Dalvin Cook in fantasy. He's a delight. Honestly, they're just way too inconsistent for me right now. I call that an overreaction. You got one more?
One more, and it's about the 49ers. They're back.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Going to make the playoffs.
I'll say yes.
Yes to which part?
I will say that is not an overreaction.
Okay.
That the recency that I'm seeing is not biased. I'm seeing the old school stuff, man. I'm seeing Debo's coming out from nowhere. You have no idea where he's coming from. Ayuk has now gotten in the end zone. He's found again.
Jimmy G really playing well.
Kittle's got to stay healthy.
Yes.
Notice when this all started, Kittle's back.
Yep.
It goes through Kittle, man. It clearly goes through a running game, and it goes through Debo, and it goes through a tough defense, but it goes through Kittle.
And guess who they play next week? The Vikings.
Okay. It's on.
It's on.
It's on. Crack it.
Let's go.
Good Overreaction Monday once again, sir. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.